Alright, I made it. Woohoo! Quiet place. Quiet street here in Brossard. So like I say, I don't know what I was going to talk about or what could I talk about. I found a subject that I wrote this morning on my blog, on my Tumblr blog. Subject is, have you ever been witness to a drug addict scene in the city? You know, you're walking on the street downtown and you see a drug addict going all out crazy and making a scene and disturbing the peace and annoying everyone. Me personally, multiple times, but nothing as loud or as annoying as that I would have to intervene and shut him down. Nor would I probably volunteer to do that. So that was my question of the day on Tumblr. And one topic that brings me up to mind is the youth of today and the usage of drugs. This is a topic that really gets on my nerve these days because my oldest nephew, which is 19, doesn't want to do anything in his life. Everyone care about him, they worry about him, but he doesn't give a shit about anyone, which is very insulting. In my family, I'm not the oldest. I have one sister, which is older than me, but in my family, I'm the one that takes charge of family matters because my dad is too old to deal with these things. And my mom doesn't want to mess up with this. So usually I talk with my sister and try to solve these problems. And I try talking with his dad, and his dad's just as worse as him. He's a big worthless idiot. Give me a second. So coming back on topic of my nephew, 19-year-old, quit school, doesn't want to do anything, spend his day wasting his time in the city with his friend. Either, I don't know what thing that he does. I didn't manage to get anyone to follow him in my entourage that know him. So that's a huge ass disappointment. And that is one cause of stress in my life. I have enough problem dealing with my own problems. Having to deal with the family problems is a little bit too much for me. And that's why I didn't have any kids in my life so far. Because I would probably be as harsh as my dad was with me. But the difference is, when I was younger, my dad sent me in the Army cadet, which straightened me up and gave me values. And to raise my self-value. You know, I always say maggots and all kinds of names, but in fact that you really matter to them, you're important. So you're part of a team and you feel values. That is one thing that's missing in him. He doesn't feel value. He doesn't feel like he's part of a team. And he doesn't know that it's important to contribute. And like I was saying earlier, in life, in the universe, time is like karma, a little bit. Time doesn't like when you waste it. It doesn't like when you do nothing and you're not being productive and you don't contribute to the universe. So there's a limit of time that times give you to waste it. And after that, all hell's break loose. Time will turn event against you in the worst possible way. I know I lived that one time in my life. It took me 7 years to get out of this. And I'm trying not to fall back into this. I'm asking the universe to give me a break and help me because I'm so tired. The last 10 months of my life has been very intense. I do need to get back in shape and eat better, but it's all things that require willpower that is something that I'm lacking these days. Before, I never ran out of powers or will to do what I want. I always used to push on, but now this is taking its toll on me, and it's getting harder and harder to fight that and to want to contribute to want to join and help. Thank God some people value me. Like my last customer, I worked on his truck. That was highly appreciated of all his goodwill and his enjoyment of working with me and having me working for him. Give me a second. I'm in the street. I have to deal with the noise of the street. Anyway, give me a second. So that reflects onto me these days that I'm having problems finding enough willpower to actually fight on and try to look for a job, and when I find a job, to actually persevere and push on and keep that job. The last 2 months, I just wasn't up to it. I was doing one job. I didn't care shit about that job. I just wanted to do the next, to find a better salary, That was my only goal. And I ended up having no salary. And now, the situation I'm in, I need to work, but I need to work at a certain salary. And we're diverging from the topic. Like I was talking about drugs and kids. Back to topic, yeah. Kids and drugs. When teenagers are exposed to drugs, either light or hard drug, nowadays, it affects their brain, because their brains are in development until the age of 21. And when they get their brain used to this stuff, it's really hard to get off. One of my employees I was working with last year, 2015, he's 24 this year, but most of his youth he was on pot and other shit. And that doesn't make him a bad person in any case. He's a hard worker. He's at work every day and he walks to work. So that's one thing I love about him, because he's dedicated. That's why I hired him. But it did take some of his drive and motivation into life. That what I was talking earlier in another video. Why do you need to drink so much beer at night, and why do you need to take drug at night? To escape from your hard days? Sometimes it's not a question about escaping. It's a question the brain is used to this and it needs that. Just like me, what I need sex. So it's everybody needs sex. It's a constant feeding of that brain that needs this resource. And when you're exposed to cigarette, that leads eventually to pot, that will lead to other things that are not necessarily good. So that's how kids turns out these days. Plus the environment that they're in, the other people that are around them will influence their lives. And other kids will have more influence on your kids that your influence. And my sister knows that, because she scrutinized every friends of her own kids, the youngest one. And she wants to make sure that he hangs out with the right kind of kids. And I know when I was young, I was on both sides of the fence. I had bad friends and I had good friends. Bad friends, bad influence friends. The kind of friends your mom don't want you to hang with. And I was raised straight, and I was in the cadet, so drug for me was a big no-no, and smoking was a big no-no. I was not interested in any of these shits. My goal in life was to stay healthy and shape and athletic form. Until later on, when I got married and everything turns around, when I find that sedentary life was enjoyable, and I find a pleasure in eating so much, which made me gain about 50 pounds. Yeah, I would say I'm about 35 pounds overweight. I'm not big or fat or anything like this, but I have a belly that I'm not very happy with, which caused me a lot of pains. Back pains, because it's too much weight to carry around. But I have a very high endurance level. So it's really hard to continue making these every day. But the reason why I make my vlog every day is for others to find encouragement, supports, and moral supports in their life, and probably find the solutions to their problems. Because life is not always a lucky-go-lucky things and enjoyable moments or anything like this. Sometimes life is hard and very disappointing, and it's very depressive sometimes. And a lot of kids don't know how to deal with depression. They don't know how to deal with rejection, other people being mean to them, and other things like that. They tend to lock themselves out inside their house, and they don't want to deal with life. So it's something that affects a lot of kids. Like, I would say probably 85% of Tumblr users are neets or shut-ins, like what they call them in Japanese, because they find comfort in their blog that they're running, and then give them somewhat of a meaning and a distraction for everyday's problems, which everyday's problems don't go away because they don't do anything to improve their situation, and they get stuck dealing with that situation for the rest of their life. I know some people have been on Tumblr for more than 6 years. They've been between the four walls of their bedroom in front of the computer, and they haven't done anything. I've seen a few Tumblr blogs that have over 1 million posts. I'm at 46,000 posts on my blog. So it's just to give you an idea how much time somebody will spend behind a computer doing nothing. What's their physical condition and their mental condition? I'm back in the street. Give me a moment. It's pretty warm tonight. It's we're the 3rd of November. November 3rd, November 3. And it's right now outside, it's about 12 degrees. With my winter jacket on my back, that's a furnace, so I'm pretty stoked. I'm very, very comfy. Man. Isn't there somewhere I can sit quietly and chat that is not wet? Inside my car. Yeah, I'm at my bank right now. It's somewhat of a quiet place, isolated. Just about 150 feet from the street. You see the noise difference? When you get a car passing by, it's really loud. But when you're sitting quietly in the dark, it's pretty quiet. Let's see if I can find something that is not so wet. Yay! Let me see. Nice and wet. Oh, for fuck's sake. I just, sorry about that. I just finished eating, having supper. And I need to digest. Yeah, that's kind of my diet situation. It's either both ends of the spectrum. I'm gonna eat very salty. I'm gonna have a very salty supper, and I'm gonna have a very sweet drink. My drink's gonna be swarming with sugar, like very rich in sugar. Usually at KFC, it's awful. I like the taste of KFC, but it's fucking awful. Not good. Not good for your health at all. Yeah, I'm not gonna find a dry place to sit. I'm just gonna go back home by the back street. So that's pretty much for me tonight. I'm at 15 minutes. Catch you guys later.